Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name, once again, Kerry Stevenson. I've asked Andrew Munckton, the Managing Director of Kin Mining, ASX code, easy, K-I-N for Kin. They operate in Leonora in Western Australia. They've got the Cardinia Hill project over there. And they've come back with some very interesting assay results. And I'm looking at this, and I said to Andrew earlier, I said, I want to bring you back onto Small Caps because I think what you've got here is you're really understanding that all these smaller deposits potentially are going to grow into something much bigger. So, Andrew, thanks so much for joining us on Small Caps today.
Pleasure, Kerry. Good to talk to you again.
The last time we spoke, November last year, just before the end of 2021, we were talking about Pegasus and we were talking about the shallow gold discovery at Pegasus. But now you're getting some significant, I should say, assay results from Rangoon. And that's really saying that you're finding more extensive gold mineralization. So paint the picture for us, Andrew, as to what Kin Mining's got, because it's a substantial land holding. And last time I think I said, how do you even know where to go? So I want to understand, or we want to understand, what's Kin Mining going to do, which is going to, I guess, really bring this to a better understanding.
Sure. So we've been doing a lot of work around this Cardinia area, which is the core of our land holding. And that's the area that we think, is the most likely place for us to find one of these, very large and high grade deposits. And we've been working in the western side of Cardinia, which is the Pegasus Bruno Lewis, where we spoke about it last year and this shallow gold discovery. But we really like the eastern side of Cardinia, a thing that we're calling the Eastern Corridor. And we've got 4 or 5 deposits that we've found in that Eastern Corridor, all relatively near surface. Cardinia Hill, Helens, Fiona, and now Rangoon. And the work that we've been doing there is really all focused on finding a significant high-grade deposit, probably at depth. But the 4 or 5 deposits that we've discovered there, the biggest one is Cardinia Hill at about 120,000 ounces so far, but we've only really tested those down to about 100 metres vertical. And Rangoon was the 4th one of those that we went and tested, and we've come up with a number of wide and moderate grade at this stage intersections. There are some high grade wide intersections in there. The most recent one was 32 metres at about 3 grams. But we're really seeing that the grade is improving significantly as we're drilling deeper and deeper here compared to the near surface environment, which has slightly lower grade, but has higher or better continuity and better grade as we get deeper drilling underneath some of these deposits that we found.
I get my curiosity is, I know that you've done lots of shallow drilling and we're talking, 50 to 100 metres, maybe 130 metres. What stopped, to me, it's like, what stops you just going, oh, to hell with it, let's go to 500 metres and see if we can. Like, and where's the present, Andrew? I'm sure it's down there somewhere.
Yeah, and we're getting to the point, Kerry, where we're going to put some deeper drilling into that down to about 400 metres.
Okay.
We have some targets there to go and stick some more higher risk drill holes into, but they're higher risk and higher reward. If you hit 20 or 30 metres at 5 grams to 15 grams down there, then that certainly starts to look like something really quite significant. And all these deposits that we found near surface in the Eastern Corridor, and they're spread over quite a substantial area. It's about 5 kilometres north-south by a couple of kilometres east-west, so plenty of scope there for sizable deposits. And my expectation is that you're going to have the lengths and the breadths that you get will be repeated with depth. So if it's 2 kilometres across, you can easily get to 2 kilometres deep in these kind of systems. So, a lot of the mineralisation in this Leonora area has lots of depth extension, down to, companies are mining down to 1,500, 1,600 metres in underground mines when they get the grade. And so our expectation is there's going to be some substantial high-grade deposits underneath what we've found so far at near surface.
What makes Leonora such a potential great area for gold? Because there's been a number of discoveries. I'm sure there's, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but millions of ounces in Leonora. Why is Leonora such a strong area for gold mineralization, do you think?
Well, the geological answer to that is that, actually at Leonora is one of these crustal depth faults. And when you've got these crustal depth faults tapping through the mantle, those big, long-lived faults have a lot more fluid, a lot more metal, a lot more gold, a lot more deposit sites along them. And so all the multi-million ounce deposits in the whole of the West Australian goldfields have all been found within a few kilometres of these major crustal faults. So, we're sitting on one called the Kilkenny. There's one at Leonora called the St George Shear. There's one across at Laverton, about 100 kilometres to the east of us, called the Laverton Tectonic Zone. And all the big deposits, everything that's northwards of 5 million ounces, all sit on these big crustal depth structures.
Is your land holding over one of those crustal faults?
Yes, it is. So the big crustal fault that we sit on is called the Kilkenny Shear Zone, which is about 500 kilometres long, goes from Thunderbox in the north of us, which is 8 million ounces, down to Carrisu Dam to the south, which is about 3 million ounces. So, all those big deposits always sit on these big fault structures.
So tick, 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 it sounds, do you use any of the data or any of the information from, say, Thunderbox or Carrisu to give you an indication of what you might have your hands on?
Yes, we do. So, we have a very extensive data set, most of which is supplied by the Western Australian government. So it's available to every explorer and every producer in the whole of Australia.
Yeah.
So all those data sets are available, and we have a copy of them, and we use them for guiding our exploration. And our exploration guidance is, we think this Cardinia area is the best area that we've got for one of those multi-million ounce kind of deposits.
Right. Well,
and there's enough indicators now, Kerry, with these 3 or 4 near surface deposits and some slightly deeper drilling, that indicates, yes, there's wide zones of good grade mineralisation. We need to keep methodically working our way through it to find the big one.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. It's about being methodical to find the big one. What are the next steps? What's Kin Mining going to do now? Because as you said before, you've got, I think there's Cardinia Hill, there's Helens, there's Fiona and Rangoon. Can you see those all pulling together and it's got to come from somewhere? Is it all coming from one source?
Yeah, we believe it's all coming from one source. Next steps, we've got to consolidate all the information that we've collected over these last 12 months.
Yeah.
We're due a new mineral resource estimate. We're 1.3 million ounces now, and we want to grow that 1.3 million ounces to somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million ounces. The next iteration of the update is coming in the September quarter. So we're working on that at the moment. And then once that's complete, we'll then have enough information to be able to say, okay, well, we think the big deposit is in location A or location B or location C, and we'll go and test those A, B and C locations to see if we can find one of these big high-grade mineralised structures that we've got these surface indicators from in this eastern corridor. So I'm very excited about being able to target something order of magnitude bigger than what we've found so far in that eastern corridor. But I'm convinced that it's in that eastern corridor somewhere.
How important is it, Andrew, to have done that sort of, I guess, could you call it the boring work, if you like? Because you see, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, Andrew, can we just stop with all this and just go down to 500 metres and find that big piece of candy that is going to create all sorts of uproar, if you like? How important is it to do this foundational work, I guess you'd call it?
Yeah, it's critical. to have a solid foundation for your targeting. I mean, Kerry, you can go and stick a drill hole in anywhere, but these drill holes cost you $50,000 to $100,000 each.
Yeah.
So you drill a 500-metre diamond hole, it costs you $50,000 or $60,000. So you only get a few of them to put at a target, and so you want to have the highest probability of success and the highest understanding of where that target really sits, because often they're actually quite small. They might only be 300 metres long and 30 metres thick, but go down 500 metres.
Wow.
And so they're quite difficult to hit if you don't have enough information to guide your targeting for that. So they're rare, but with the right information and the good science, you give yourself the highest probability of success.
Does technology help? Because I know that technology it does help in mining. Are you using technology to help you to figure out where this might be?
Yeah, sure. We do a lot of some of the geophysics and some of the geochemistry that we use. We have multi-element assays for every drill meter that we do, across 46 different elements. So, we have a good understanding of exactly what the mineralisation looks like, not only from gold, but also from silver and molybdenum and sulfur and zinc and lead and copper, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a very good understanding of that. And we use geophysics mostly and structural geology mostly to do the targeting. The geophysics is now extremely advanced, and you can detect these sulfide-rich ore bodies 400 or 500 metres below surface now with the most modern geophysics that's available. So lots of tech goes into it, and while we're not necessarily right at the cutting edge like you'd expect the BHPs of the world to be, we're not very far behind it. Okay.
Now, I understand that the drilling rigs have all been demobilised. You've finished with the drilling now. So what's the next steps for Kin Mining? What do you think the market might be looking for you to be doing to show that you're on the right path?
Yeah, so the drilling rigs have demobilised. They left site about a week ago. We still have a couple of thousand samples in the assay laboratory that we'll be reporting.
A couple of thousand?
Yes, yeah. So it's been a little bit of a frustrating period for lots of people, but the other exploration companies, with the substantial backlog of assays still at laboratories, it's been an exploration boom here in Western Australia and probably in the eastern states as well. Not that I'm that familiar with it, but there's been a backlog. We've broken the back of the backlog now. So the things that we delivered to the assay lab a week, 10 days ago, which were the last samples from the Cardinia project, they should be back within the next couple of weeks. So we'll see in this next couple of weeks more assay results coming out of Cardinia, assay results coming out of one of our satellite projects that we did a little bit of work on as well. But really, Kerry, it's about getting our resource estimate out into the market sometime in the September quarter to be able to demonstrate, yes, we're onto something quite significant here and we're growing our resource base, above that 1.5 million ounce hurdle that we've set ourselves.
Well, speaking of hurdles, what challenges have you got going forward? Or is it just, look, Kerry, I know we're sitting on a fault. We know that it's produced for others in the past, so we're in the right area. Any challenges that you see going forward for Kin?
Kin face the same challenges that the majority of the West Australian resource base or the resource industry is going through at the moment. So there's some pretty solid cost rises flowing through from operations, and they're the normal things. They're the cost of labour, they're the cost of diesel, there's the cost of energy in terms of gas here in WA, across the board. So we have to, when we get to consideration of the project development, obviously factor that in. My sense is that that's not quite as hot or as difficult an issue right now as it was maybe a month ago. So, the solution to high costs is high costs. So you're seeing a bit of that sort of tail coming off a little bit now. But we'll just have to see how those items flow through to the explorers. Drill rig availability has been fine for us, so no issue with that. Assay lab turnaround has been resolved. So the things that have been challenging for the first half of this year look like they're pretty much resolved from an exploration point of view. Having said that, the quality of people, quality of drilling, the quality issues are always going to be under pressure when you're in a boom situation like the West Australian industry is at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess that's right. So talk me through the drilling has finished. You've got the assays. You've got to do a lot of work on that. When do you start drilling again and that sort of that next phase? Because I guess the game changer for Kin is going to be to find the source of where all of this shallow high-grade gold is coming from. So talk me through what that looks like. Paint the picture for me.
Okay, so I'm expecting to restart the exploration work in the September quarter, probably after we complete the mineral resource estimate. So sometime in September, guys have worked long and hard for this last 6 months or so from January onwards. So everybody's having a little bit of a rest and a breather right at the moment. But my expectation is September quarter will start again. And the first things that we'll be doing are this targeting work and getting back on the ground and see if we can find the core of these. And I like to use a sort of a vegetable analogy here, Kerry, that
I love a vegetable.
Like the head of a broccoli. It's like the head of a broccoli, I think, these kind of deposits where you're seeing the head come through in 4 or 5 different spots.
Yeah.
But we're really after the core of this kind of large mineralised system that we're dealing with here at the Eastern Corridor. So we're going to be targeting the stems of one of these broccolis, we think, in the September quarter sometime.
Well, we hope it's one of the, when you get broccoli, you get broccolini and you get broccoli. So we want a big fat broccoli stem that you need to find. Is that what you're looking for?
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the stem of the broccoli.
I love that. That's a great analogy. That's a great picture. I've got the picture now. And is that quite often with gold deposits? Is this I love the way you describe that. Is that the way gold normally forms? Like you've got that source and it's almost like a stalk? Is that?
Yeah. So my expectation on this little part of the geology in this particular project is that the majority of the metal has flowed up 1 or 2 structures. And then as it gets closer to surface and the pressure and the temperature drop as you get closer to surface when you're forming these deposits, the metal spreads out into lots and lots of relatively small footprints. But really they'll all come from a single source and they'll all come up 1 or 2 structures. And we think we're on those structures that the majority of the metal has flowed up. So, looking forward to trying to drill one of these deeper high-grade deposits.
So that's the game changer. But that's what I wanted to get through. That's the game changer for Kin, is to find where the stalk is. The drilling will start in September. So you need to come back and chat to us shortly after that. Or if you find it really quickly, come back and chat to me then. But for now, Andrew, you know how I like to finish off these conversations. It's a tough time in the market for everybody as I speak to you, but if you can just share with our audience 3 reasons why you think right now is a good time for people to be sitting up and taking notice of Kin mining. I think you've already said it, but I'll let you do it in your words.
Yes, so I think we, at the current share price, I think we offer compelling value. We've got a market cap of circa $65 million currently. we've been as high as $130 or $140 million over this last 12 months. So we've come back significantly, along with lots of other players in our space.
Yep.
And this Leonora area is, and I've said it a number of times now, it's ripe for consolidation. And my expectation with 1.3 million ounces is that we'll have a seat at the table at that consolidation discussion. And there's significant processing plant spare capacity in our area, as well as we have the optionality of, if we discover one of, the stalk of the broccoli, if we discover that, then we'll be heading down this standalone path pretty rapidly, I suspect. So, we're well advanced. We'll need a little bit of success with the drill rig to go standalone, but there's other options for us in terms of developing and monetising the assets that we currently have. So I think we're a reasonable bet in what is a pretty tough environment for investors right at the moment.
Yeah, it is tough for investors out there. But Andrew, what I do appreciate is that you've built a solid foundation and you're going about it the right way. I love the broccoli analogy. Really pleased that you came and had a chat with us on Small Caps today. Make sure you come back and give us an update in that September quarter with the mineral resource update.
Great. Will do, Kerry. Good to talk again.